Welcome to the Offer Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Michelle.
And I'm your host, Jeana.
And we are so glad you're here with us today.
Yes, we are. We are recording right above Brown Dog Coffee Company, and it is exciting. Also, it's been a sobering time, I would say, like a time of reflection, sort of in our own personal lives, but also in our country and even in our globe. Like there are so many things that we could talk about, but really we come with this thought of offering our voice. And so what does that look like when we say offer your voice? Do we really mean it? And, even the things that we could be put to test or to task on of if we hear someone's voice that isn't like ours or doesn't agree with us or doesn't say the same things. And it makes us reflect and recognize, are we willing to hear and are we willing to even continue sharing our thoughts with someone whom we might differ with? And it's sort of in light of what's happened, around our country with people not being able to debate or have different stories or different
without
sides
threat of violence. And there has been this perpetuation of a thought or an idea that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And what's sobering is the loss of life.
Yes.
In any capacity, but also the celebration of the loss of life, to just speak your mind. And so that even does kind of cause us to have to grapple with, do we go forward with offering our voices? And we have a resounding yes, a determination in our hearts that we will offer our voices, because that's the point. The violence, terrorism, anything that would try to counter what is a value for me, being a Christian, to share the gospel, to share the love of God to others.
Yeah.
Also being an American, having a First Amendment right that gives us this capacity to speak our minds freely and with boldness without the thought of retribution from the government, but also in retaliation of violence. It just should not be. And I just want to say, we want to say that the things that we feel very strongly about are your availability to differ with us and speak your mind in regard to that. And that then we could offer our voices as well. And that hopefully at some point, maybe come to a common ground. If we can't, that's okay as well, because the truth is we are all humans. We have a shared human experience. The core and the draw down to the very bottom line is that we have the image of God upon us, and each one of us has something significant to offer in this world. There is a reason that you are born for this moment. It is not by happenstance across all the generations that have gone before us.
Right.
I think about and reflect on my own life. My parents were married for 17 years before I was born. I'm about to turn 50, but my mom is 85, about to turn 86. And the reality of her parents being born in the early 1900s and spanning that time, it is almost, it is beyond comprehension, honestly, to see the things that they saw from those years, their young years, to the things that I saw in my young years, and that our younger generations are seeing in these years. Yeah. And to be a part of that is important. And so I've always known that my time and my season is in God's hand, and that He brought me forth into the world for this moment, just as He has for each of you, just as He has for Jeana, for her boys, which are amazing young men of God, and also my nephews who are as well. And this is Kate's first year of college, my oldest nephew, and I'm so proud of him. And he is a bold witness for God and a leader. And I just want to say that you get to offer your voice that we believe in that, and we hope that this platform will cultivate a community of those that will offer our voices together.
Yeah, exactly. And like we even said in the beginning, to bridge those connections in the community that we want to cultivate, because the truth is, just like you said, just going back, bouncing off of what you first began with, is we are all created in the likeness
of God. That's right.
And in that, we were also given choice.
Yes.
And
that's right.
The choice and the free will that we were given, it is to potentially say or offer whatever you're feeling or are passionate about. But also, it is a choice to walk away if you don't agree with it.
It's good.
And I think that that's the trick that we've gotten into in our culture today, that
it is a trick.
We get lured in by this like siren of sorts, and then we just put on our boxing gloves instead of just opening up our hands and our hearts to actually hear one another.
Yes.
Agreeing or not. And if there's someone you don't agree with and it becomes contentious, then I have a choice to walk away.
We get to choose. Yes.
Get to choose to walk away
or be a peacemaker.
Absolutely.
And offer and give as much as possible, but also, again, like Jeana said, walk away if it's not going to be advantageous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or productive.
Yeah. Helpful, And so I think that those are the places, versus allowing division to literally separate us from one another, which I'm a believer in all the access that we have to all the things, but sometimes too, if we're not careful in our own ways of thinking, certainly in mine, social media can give us a false sense of reality when it is indeed not. My reality is me talking with you right here.
That's right.
Me talking with you guys and you guys being able to talk back. The beauty of conversation and being in the room together is that we can't misunderstand one another.
That's the point. It's like not to be this keyboard warrior or something where you're actually not engaging with anyone. You're just putting your thoughts out there, which you get to do. You get to put your thoughts out. But the truth is, taking a moment and having a cup of coffee, having a moment with a person in real life, IRL, in real life, and actually hearing them. And I think that's what's so discouraging about what happened this week, because that's what it was. It was, hey, I'm going to have a conversation in real life with people who may not agree with me and most likely don't agree with me. And then the loss of life for that. And that has been weighty, I believe, especially for college age kids, because this situation happened on a college campus. And that's where actually debate and fostering of ideas and ideals should be offered. But also it's actually in conjunction with people in your life, in relationship. You can have people in your life that you disagree with, but truly still have relationship with, because that they have the mark of God on their lives, but also that they also get to have their own perspective as well, and to honor that, because it's giving value to that person.
Yeah.
And that's the key, because we must value one another. If we begin to see people as enemies or as those who don't matter, or as the other group, or the other in general, that is a slippery slope that is hard to come back from. And that's why it's so, and I'm not in any way trying to preach. I feel tender about this. I feel passionate about this. I feel that there has been too long a squelching of the voices of dissent, or even perspectives that may not be popular, but also this moment in time is a moment to rise up, to right and to offer and to give and to have actual conversations with people in our lives.
Yeah.
This episode of the Offer Your Voice podcast is sponsored by Brown Dog Coffee Company in beautiful downtown Burgaw, where we micro roast our coffee daily.
Come see us at the shop, 103 West Fremont Street, for great coffee and good vibes.
Or visit us online at browndogcoffeeco.com.
It made me think of, Hamilton, right? Like you're running out of time. It's like we are but a vapor. So this is a moment in time that we are entrusted with this form to be on this earth, to be able to encounter one another. And so
that's right.
That is true, as you were just talking about with the generations, that we were put here in this
for
season.
This moment.
Yeah. And so what does that look like, and how do we offer with love, but also in truth and in compassion, but also with a firmness in solidifying the belief system that we may have. Someone else may have a different belief system, and that is that place where we get to talk about, we get to discuss it, we get to have those conversations.
We do, but we also don't have to participate in delusion. Part of the First Amendment is the concept and truth that we don't have to have compelled speech. So if there's something that I don't believe and I don't agree with, I don't have to be compelled under the First Amendment to say those things. I actually get to offer the thing that I believe, as you get to offer the thing that you believe.
Right.
And that's the key. It's a both and. But again, it goes back to valuing one another, that we don't just write people off or say they're too far gone or anything that would be derogatory or in any way lessening their value as a person. We actually get to engage with one another and trust that some good could come from a conversation like that. If it's done in good faith, if there is actually an availability for, the mind and the heart to be softened and tender to what someone else may have gone through in their lives. That's one reason that we say with the podcast, everyone has a story, and we want to have different people on who have different stories, because everyone's story matters.
Yeah.
Everyone's story is significant.
That's right.
And also it builds into that person who they are. Mm-hmm. One of the things that Jeana really is so strongly on is identity, and actually knowing who you are and being strong in who you are and how that looks.
Yeah. I think in reference to that, identity is one of those things that we are taught and learn, but also through, as you said, our human experiences and how that develops and how that kind of forms in each of our lives. And I was fortunate to have an amazing mother and grandfather who spoke into my life, who were voices in my life.
Yes.
And loved people, genuinely loved people, joyful and grateful for every day they were given, living it to the full, quiver empty of all the arrows at the end of the day. But I do think that one thing my grandfather taught me about was the value of just human life in general. Just humans matter, and we have a congruent activity of living, moving, and breathing together. And then what we get to offer in that living, moving, and breathing, that matters additionally. But human life is one of those things that he instilled inside of me this great need to see people, but also to understand who I am because of who God's created me to be. And with that comes a calling on each of us.
Right.
With that comes a calling to use my voice, to use it for the good that He's placed in my heart, for the places that He's led me. For instance, an experience last night at Asher's game was this: at the end of the game, the other team won. It was a hard-fought game. My My son broke his leg at a football game 2 weeks ago and can't play this season. He's a senior, so he's out.
Had to have surgery.
All the things. It's emotional, but it's good. He was out there on his knee scooter.
He wanted to support the team.
He absolutely wanted to support the team. But he's like, I'm going to be the best encourager that, I can be out there on the sidelines. But he's at the tail end of the line to shake hands with the other team at the end, not to, impede because he's on his knee scooter. But the coach on the other team sees Asher. And in their win, in the students' excitement,
celebration,
he is only who I would think he is in the whole of his life. That moment was a reflection of that because he paused, he put his arm around my son, and he prayed for him.
This is the visiting coach.
The visiting coach.
Amazing.
Excuse my emotion.
It's okay. It's okay. It's emotional.
But it wasn't just a quick prayer. He was in it for a minute. The entire team had almost already walked through, shaking.
He saw Asher.
He was first. My son was last. So all of that time had gone and he saw Asher. And that moment, and then other coaches coming over to Asher and other students coming over to Asher. And this moment of just human
kindness.
One human saw another human.
Yes.
This middle-aged man saw this 17-year-old young fella and wanted to encourage through prayer his heart. Put his arm around him.
Beautiful.
They embraced one another for this length of time, not knowing each other. And I was able to find the coach at the end and thank him for that, knowing that that matters to any heart and to any life. He didn't care if Asher believed in prayer. He didn't do it to be disrespectful. He did it out of goodness and kindness and love and seeing a human condition.
Yes.
And I think that's...
And he just offered
He just offered.
What he had, he gave.
He gave. Freely, with no need of recognition and willing to pause his celebration to encourage another. And that for me will forever be a marked moment in my heart.
Absolutely.
Surely for Asher's. And I think it is a sobering reminder to me to see people. And
it's beautiful, Jeana.
Also to offer when you feel led to offer. And don't feel compelled to be quiet or to cower, perhaps. He could have easily kept walking, and who would have been any the wiser? I wouldn't have known what was in his heart stirring to pray for Asher. But he didn't. He did what he was called to do in that moment. Beautiful. And clearly that's what he offers his team. I'm sure he's an absolutely wonderful coach. But he's a good man. He's a good human.
Yes.
To pause. And let that be the legacy that we leave when we offer our voice too, that we want to be good and kind while still staying true to who we are and what we're called to do on this earth. And I think that is, that's a beautiful place if we can each land there at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I do my best to not necessarily be political in any way, just offer connected to my deeply held beliefs. And I did post on my platform on Brown Dog Coffee my feelings in regard to 9/12. And 9/12/2001, I was 25 years old, so it was impactful to me as a young adult. That time in our nation's history, and because I was living it, we were living it collectively. And that day, after horrific events of 9/11 took nearly 3,000 Americans from us, and those firemen and rescue, all of the first responders, they just ran into the burning buildings and were helping people.
Yeah.
And of course, you think of that quote of Mr. Rogers that you look for the helpers when there's tragic events that happen. And that is somewhere beautiful to land, because that was impactful. It was so impactful to our nation. But I think that's one of the reasons that on 9/12, so many people came together in unity, was that this terrible thing has happened, but we are all together valuable. And to have that as part of what is our legacy, is our experience and expression, to even now when things feel very divided and divisive, that one can't go on a college campus and offer thoughts or debate without being killed. That's where I think we're feeling the weight of what this moment is. And even the fact that it was around the 9/11 conversation, I believe also probably adds weight to that, because we can see where we were in that moment and where we are now.
Right.
And it should not be that way. You know, we should have values that hold us together, which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Of course, those values do come from God. And so to have a nation that has turned away from something that is true and something that is eternal, to have ones who want to offer that back into this generation, into the now, how beautiful that is. And so even for us on the podcast, we want to be so inclusive. And I believe that we were almost trying to be so inclusive that we couldn't offer our own thoughts or perspectives, that everything that we feel is motivated by love, that would be our temperance, that would be our baseline, that would be our foundation, that would be out of the overflow of the heart, of our hearts for love for others, that our mouths would speak. So I think we had to take a pause even to try to navigate that. But I do believe we crossed a Rubicon over the last week, in that we are compelled to offer hope to this world, to offer hope to those around us. We want to build a community. We know that people are so isolated. And that's one reason that I so believe in the coffee shop, because it's a beautiful third space for people to come, to gather, to share, to laugh, to be joyous. Of course, have a great cup of coffee or tea. If you like tea, we're happy to serve that as well. It's just in real life. Now, obviously, we're doing this on a digital platform, but we also have a space that you can come.
Yeah.
You can come here.
Yeah.
And we welcome you. And we have Jeana and I have a beautiful space upstairs, the event space that's above the coffee shop, that is spacious and safe. And you're welcome. You're welcome here. You know, sometimes we have events, so it's rented out and it's reserved, like we do this afternoon for a birthday party.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's available, but always, coffee shop is open.
Yeah.
And our hearts are open.
Yes.
To you. Yeah. And even if we don't agree, we love you and we value you. And we trust that there are things ahead for our nation, for our own community. We believe in Burgaw. We believe in our surrounding communities. It's a beautiful time. It's a hard time, but it's a beautiful time. And there's so much promise and there's so much hope. And that's all we can offer.
Yeah. Our hearts and our voice, right? And
That's right.
really
And a great cup of coffee.
And a great cup of coffee. Absolutely. Yes, that goes without saying. But we do. I echo everything that Michelle said. And we just want you to know that you're loved. And we pray God blesses you. We pray that God blesses our community, our businesses, that God blesses your family, our families, this country, and this globe. And in the words of C.S. Lewis, courage, dear heart.
Until next time, join us again.
We'll see you
down the road.